Well, hello, my fabulous friends. I hope you're doing well. I have a very interesting reading for you today. I've had so many requests to do Matthew Perry, and I refuse. It's still too soon. Especially with his shocking death, he probably still hasn't settled, and so many people are bothering him right now. I like to give people at least 3 months, possibly 6, before I check in on them. So this is not a reading about what Matthew Perry right now, but this interesting reading is what was his previous life like. Let's try and see if we can suss out using the tarot cards what energy he was carrying into this life. He had a crazy life from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. He was a TV star. He did movies. He made hundreds of millions of dollars through friends. I was trying to look and see, and it looks like, the way their contract was, not only did they make $1 million a show while the show was running at the end there, but they also, the residuals, and they estimated that each of them was going to make well into hundreds of millions of dollars from that. He also stated that he had spent $9 million on rehab. So where did that money get him? He had extreme addiction problems, unfortunately fueled a lot by the millions that he had. So, for example, he would sneak away and get on a private plane and go to another city to buy his drugs. Well, you and I can't do that, right? So he had the highest of highs and lowest of lows. So what energy did he carry into the current lifetime that he had? So we're going to go back one lifetime. So who was Tyler Perry before he came into the current lifetime where we just lost him? So first thing we're going to do is we are going to find out, well, what gender he was. And like I said on my other card reading, I'm not here to do any kind of social studies or gender studies course. Was he a boy or a girl? And that's just the way I'm going to roll. That's how the tarot cards roll: boy or girl, masculine, feminine, whatever you want to call them. You have to remember a lifetime ago, which would have been about 150 years ago. They used male, female, boy, girl. So that's what we're going to go with. We have to kind of put ourselves back in time. All right. So was Tyler Perry, was he what was his gender? What was his gender? Was he a man or a woman? Was he a man or a woman? Queen of Candles. He was a female. He was a female in his previous lifetime. All right. So now let's see. Let's ask about his parents. Did he grow up in a good home? These are king, king, king. All right. Did he grow up in a good home? So now we want to ask about his father. And if the card is in reverse, that means his father left the family while he was still a child. So we're asking about how the home that he grew up in. Was the father present? And what type of father did he have? Was the father present? And what type of father did he have? No, the King of Good Cheer. And he's in reverse. That would be the King of Cups. So he might have had a father with mental health issues. But let's find out, did the father die or did he leave the family? So did the father die or did he leave the family? Did Matthew Perry's father die or leave the family? And remember, he was a female in that lifetime. So that would have been her daddy. And he, as a reversed King of Cups, would have had, or he could have been emotionally cold, which was probably pretty typical back 150 years ago. Men were not allowed to show a lot of their emotions man of the house kind of thing. So let's see what happened here. 8 of Canes. So that would be 8 of Swords. He could have been trapped by his mental illness. Let's get a clarifier on that. So he could have been, like, for example, put into an asylum against his will. So let's get I'm not getting a death out of that. So let's pull a clarifier. Strength. Yeah, you know what? He was put into a home. So Matthew Perry, as a young girl before she turned 18, her father was put into a home, into an asylum. Okay, so now let's check out Matthew Perry's mother. What was his mother like? What would have been her mother? Because we're getting an idea of what the childhood was like, because that kind of forms the personality, doesn't it? In some regards. Cards are ready. Queen of Candles in reverse. He was an orphan. He was orphaned. He lost both parents as a child. So let's see what happened to his mother. Did his mother die, or did she leave? Maybe she couldn't afford the children, so she just left. Oh, the clock agrees with me. So did his mother, what happened to his mother? Why was his mother absent in his childhood? Oh, the mother died. 4 of Swords, and look, the mother died. So I wonder if the mother died and the father couldn't cope with it and ended up in a home. And Matthew Perry ended up as an orphan, as a young girl, as an orphan. Interesting, in this lifetime, his father left at a very, very, very young age. So let's see. Let's see what his happiness factor was. What was his happiness factor as a child? What was his home like? What was the happiness factor in the home? We'll see how old the mother was when she passed. What was the happiness factor in the home? What was the happiness factor in the home? Ace of Good Cheer. There was a lot of love, right? A lot of love that was offered. Or when the love was offered, it's just a 1. So I think his mother passed away when he was quite young, as a baby, with the ace there, at the beginning of his childhood. And that could have been why his dad, maybe his dad, or would have been her dad, had mental health issues, went into a bit of a depression, was put into a home. And so the babies were put into orphanage. Let's see. Let's see about the financial aspects. What did he grow up with finances? What was the finances? I mean, the father could have been in a very fancy home if they had a lot of money, right? And then in that case, maybe maids looked after them, or nannies, right? We don't know. Like, we can't just say, oh, of course they're going to be poor. Could have been very rich, and maybe he had nannies. I mean, technically he wasn't an orphan, right? His dad was still around. His dad was still living. So let's see. What was the finances like in growing up for Matthew Perry? 2 of Gifts. Yeah, no, they struggled, constantly struggled. 2 of Gifts, that's 2 of Pentacles, constantly balancing the books. Sometimes they had food, sometimes they didn't. I'm getting like, please, sir, more soup kind of thing here. Sometimes there was money to buy things, and sometimes there weren't. And this is a 2. So he grew up in struggles with money. Isn't that interesting that in the next lifetime, he had no struggles whatsoever? he had struggles with drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol. All right. So now let's see what was his. Now that we're starting to get a picture of what his life was like. Let's get into his personality. As a young child. So let's see, what was his personality, or would have been her personality? What was the personality like as a young child? So now we're getting a picture. His mother passed away. His father was put into a home. The family struggled with money. Their love was offered, but it was sparse and it didn't last for very long. What was he like as a child? What was Matthew Perry like as a little girl in the last lifetime? Page of Good Cheer. Interesting, because the Ace of Good Cheer was there. Page of Good Cheer. Happy enough little girl, considering everything that she was going through. So I wonder if she went with family. I wonder if her dad's family took her in, or her mom's family took her in, versus actually being an orphan. Because like I said, she wasn't a real orphan. She would have been taken away when her father was put into the asylum after her mother died. So maybe she was, she looks like she's in a safe home. And this is up to age 18. I wonder if she started drinking as when she got to a teenager. I wonder if she started with the alcohol. Let's see what she was like as a young adult, 18 to about 35. What was Matthew Perry in his previous life as a girl? What was his young adulthood like? Night of Candles. Wow. I think as a female, as the Knight of Candles, that's the Knight of Wands, traveled, was very active, not settling down anywhere, not necessarily settling down into any kind of career. Doesn't look like she was married. That's certainly not a card of marriage and settling down. It's a card of traveling and maybe like dating a lot too. Maybe just couldn't find the right person, or I don't know. So let's see, what was Tyler Perry like as Tyler Perry? Why do I keep saying Tyler Perry? Matthew Perry. There's Katy Perry, Tyler Perry, Matthew Perry, Stephen Perry. Yeah, there's lots of them. So sorry, Matthew. Okay, so what was Matthew Perry like as an older adult, as a mature adult, age 35 and over? What was Matthew Perry's personality, soul, the little girl? What was that little girl like after age 35? Queen of Good Cheer. So just like her father, because her father was King of Cups, emotionally stable, considering everything that she had been through, very emotionally stable. I'm thinking though, I wonder if she had a drinking problem. Cups can be the alcoholic, and just knowing what Matthew's life it was like, I wonder if that was something that was never finished in that lifetime. And so he had to deal with it in this lifetime. And from what I understand, he did beat it. From what I understand, I think the last year or two, he was sober. So this is showing that I'm just really getting the alcohol in this a lot, but emotionally stable somehow. a functioning drinker. Let's put it that way. But very emotionally balanced. All of his are upright, and you go look at Meghan and Harry's, and theirs are in reverse. So this is telling me, you know what? He came from very difficult circumstances and made the best of it, which is actually kind of interesting considering how he was in this lifetime. All right. So he had a really good kind of balanced, started out as a balanced child, was very active as a young adult, and ended up being a very emotionally stable adult out of everything that he went through. Good for him. So let's now see if she had a partner. All right. So now we aren't looking at the gender of the partner. We're looking for the personality of the partner. Was the partner stern? Was the partner older? Was the partner younger? That would be a page if the partner was younger, or a knight would be, younger. Was the partner, a good partner, a provider, or was the partner, a cheater, that kind of thing. So that's what we're looking for, the personality, not necessarily the gender of the partner. All right. We're looking at what type of partner. If the partner is in reverse, that means the partner gave up early in the relationship, and then we pull another one. If that one's in reverse, that means that there was no long-term partner. Okay, so what kind of partner did Matthew Perry have? And this will be really interesting. Okay, what kind of partner? Oh, right in reverse, King of Canes. So remember, that was a female. So this was a very stern narcissist, bully, mean person. This would be the King of Swords in reverse. Very cold, very, very cold. And so this would have ended early in her adulthood. So let's see, did she have another partner? And remember, in her young adult age, she was the Knight of Wands, traveling, busy. Let's see, here we go. Page of Gifts. You know what? I don't think this would be the Page of Pentacles. I don't think she was married. I don't think she had a long-term relationship. I think her first relationship was very stern man, very ignorant, very cold-hearted. Could have been like maybe like almost like I'm thinking coming together as a rebound from wanting that daddy figure. And this is opposite of what her dad was. Her dad was the King of Cups, and this is the King of Swords. So it's interesting that she was attracted to this, or I'm almost getting a feeling that this man was much older than her. And also King of Swords in reverse can be a widower or a divorced man. So that, I think this was something that just, she kind of blew off, and maybe that's why she did all the traveling that she did and action and wanted to be with people her own age and fun. And then the next one was Page of Gifts, was maybe somebody who was very immature, quiet, maybe possibly younger than her, but just more childlike, and didn't want to take the next didn't want to commit, didn't want to take the next step, didn't want to invest in her. So it does look like she was all by herself at the end. And the reason I find that interesting is because even in this lifetime, he never did meet anybody or hook up with anybody. It just seemed he couldn't find the right kind of person. That lasting kind of person. And that shows that that's echoing from the previous life. He still hasn't figured out how to have a long-term relationship. how to choose somebody who's right for him, and how to make it stick and how to make it last. So that's what I find very, very interesting. All right. So now let's check and see what was his occupation in his last lifetime. This will be interesting, right? Considering what he was in this lifetime. What was his occupation? What was his occupation? And again, when I'm doing this for you, we go much, much deeper into that. If there was a match with a relationship, was it a happy relationship? Did you create some money? Did you create a legacy? Did you have children? That kind of thing. Even when I'm doing it for you, if you want to see if you had brothers and sisters and how many you had, and that kind of thing. But I'm just doing a surface one here so you can get an idea of what this reading looks like and how it applies to your lifetime. All right, so what was his occupation? What was his occupation? What was his occupation in his last lifetime? What was his occupation in his last lifetime? I wonder if I'm saying Tyler Perry because I should do Tyler Perry next. What was his occupation in his last lifetime? Oh, and he's, the star. But it's in reverse. He wasn't successful. Well, of course, that's a movie star. That's a public figure. That's, they didn't have movies back then, right? But they had actors. They had traveling, it was a she, right? So it was a she. So maybe she wanted to be an actor or something in the public. Let's see. Let me get to the cheat sheet here, because the cheat sheet for past lives is a little bit different. Let's see, occupation for the star, but it's in reverse. So in his previous life, he didn't make it, but in this life, he did. He was bound and determined. See how it overlaps and it bridges? Yeah, a star, celebrity, talented, famous, multi-talented, skilled, singer. Oh, a singer, a writer, an artist, musician, spiritualist, healer, astrologist, earth angel, blah, 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 right? So that's what she wanted to be. Maybe she wanted to be a writer or a singer. I mean, obviously we didn't have Hollywood then, but something, a star, a celebrity. And look at that. She was unsuccessful in her previous life, but she's successful in this life. As Matthew Perry, he made it. He made it at the detriment of his emotions. But remember, in his last life, his emotions were actually quite stable considering what he had been through. Little bit of a drinking problem that started when he was young, but wanted to be a star. And in this lifetime, he made it. Wow. This reading blows my mind away. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy how it bridges it together. So let's see, what was Matthew's sole purpose in his previous life? What was his sole purpose in his previous life? Let's see. And was he successful? Let me get these all the same way. Okay, what was Matthew's sole purpose, and was he successful? Yeah, when I read for you, I would be then, and what is your sole purpose this lifetime? What wasn't finished in the last lifetime? And we go from there. What was his sole purpose in his last lifetime, and did he achieve it? What was his soul purpose or life purpose? Both are interchangeable. And did he achieve it? Or she back then? The Magus, the magician. Whoa. So this would be for the soul purpose is to use your intelligence wisely, to empower yourself through education, to learn, teach, to travel and explore, to use the wonderful natural gifts you've been given for the benefit of all, to understand the nature of power and how to positively and for the good of all, to unlock your psychic and mystical talents, to create inventions to help the world, to be the one to discover a cure for life-threatening diseases, to harness the power of others for the good of mankind. Well, whatever she was doing, she was successful at it. She got to her soul purpose. And I think this was just to use the gifts you've been given for the benefit of all, like being emotionally stable. Maybe she taught other people how to be emotionally stable. Understand the nature of power and use it positively for the good of all. So how to be positive. So that maybe that's why she was so positive, like emotionally stable. That was part of her soul contract, her soul purpose was to learn under such terrible circumstances how to remain positive and then show people that you can be through poverty and losing parents and parents in asylums and still hold your head high and still try and do well in the world. And it looked like she did it because the card is upright. If the card was in reverse, it would say no, she didn't. And normally this is where I would end it, but I want to ask the cards, what was Matthew Perry's soul purpose this lifetime? What was his soul? I'm just curious to see. And did he manage to achieve that? Once again, I'm got the cards all mixed up. Everyone's probably yelling, turn the cards over. What was his soul purpose in this lifetime? What was his soul purpose in this lifetime? What was his soul purpose in this lifetime? Oh, see? And he didn't. It's in reverse. And his soul purpose was the Fool, is to learn how to be more spontaneous, to take a chance on life, to be more eccentric and not so conventional, to be more trusting in life and others, to learn to have more fun and play, not to be so serious, to be not so naive, too innocent, to stop acting like a child all the time, to take responsibility for your life and your actions, to take responsibility for your life and your actions. And also the child or the Fool in reverse is foolish. So, and that's interesting that previous was magician, and then he went to this lifetime was the Fool. So I wonder if you cycle through the major arcanas backwards. I wonder if you cycle through them backwards. So, yeah, of course, he did not take responsibility for his life and actions. Maybe in the end, but it might have been too late. He wasn't successful. So he's going to have to learn this lesson. He's going to have to learn this again. He died with this being unfulfilled. To be more trusting in life and others. To stop acting like a child all the time. Well, that's what drugs do to you, don't they? Make you act like a 5-year-old. I want some more. I don't know why I made that voice. Poor soul. Well, anyways, he's going to have to come back and try again. Try again. Sadly, though, the circumstances will be even more difficult because that's what happens. The lesson keeps appearing until you learn the lesson. Each time it gets harder and harder, so it pushes you, challenges you to achieve it. All right. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed this. If you want your own past life reading to understand your current life, there'll be just click in the box down below. There's a link. Go ahead, click on that. And we'll see you on that side. Thank you very much for your time. I sure appreciate you. I know you have other tarot card readers to watch, and the fact that you spend your time with me warms my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Take good care. See you online. Bye for now.